What's up, guys? This video is picking up where the last one left off. Right now we got both the engines on the stands. So this is the second video in the Dakota swap build series. This one is more going to be focused on the engines. We're going to cover what we got to do to take the 5.2 and swap what we need to over onto this 5.9 so we end up with a healthier, larger displacement engine. Alright.
So right now we have both engines kind of sort of at the same stage. Just got to take this intake off, take the valve covers off. We're going to take those heads, junk them probably. These heads only have a few thousand miles on them. We'll clean those up. Talk to the local machine shop, see if we can plane the head, clean those up a little bit. If not, that's fine. But
we got both the engines torn down to long blocks, and we're prepping this one for paint, and we're gonna tear that one down and see what ended up going wrong in the engine when we did our passes.
So in the process of getting this ready for paint, we took the timing cover off here. You got to line up the two marks, one in the crank, one in the cam. That is top dead center, cylinder 1 on the correct stroke. Since we are replacing the cam, we want to make sure everything's right. We're going to pop out the distributor, and after that, pull the oil pump gear off, and then we should be able to pull the cam out. We're going to tape off everything and then start the painting process. I did an ass job at that. Anyways, so we have the block entirely taped up for paint. The cam is in it, the timing gear, chain, all that's installed. Oil pump gear, that's also back in time correctly for the distributor. So we have plugs and bolts in all of the holes except for the motor mounts. So that'll be pretty much everything we needed to do, and now it's paint time. So a couple weeks have passed since where we left off that last portion of the video. So basically, the engine is all assembled now. Ryan did that this week. We got the heads back from the machine shop and all that. Everything's all good. We got it all painted, red, white, and blue. So we said we'd explain to you some of the things with swapping the 5.9 in. And so one of those is the flywheel, so Ryan's gonna real quick explain that.
so on an externally balanced flywheel, you'll see all these drill marks. That just means that they put this on a lathe or whatnot and they spun it as fast as they could or at a certain speed, and then they find where it wobbles and they take a drill and they drill out the metal they need before it actually goes smooth. So on a 5.2 and 3.9, they don't have these because they're internally balanced in the crank. So that's how you know you have a 5.9 flywheel.
Want to explain to the people what we've done here?
Yeah, sure. All right, so now the motor, transmission are in. Next time if we do this, I'm going to take the middle bracket off for the transmission support. It would make it a hell of a lot easier because the angle of the motor, unfortunately, between what we did, we dinged up our brand new distributor cap. So from now on, we're not going to do it that way. Thank God Summit has a bunch of those. But it's in, the heart is in, motor mounts went in, and now it's just buttoning everything up, putting the power steering back on, intake, throttle body, all that, and see if she'll fire up.
We have the engine in the truck. So right now I'm gonna go over just a few of the little things that we've done while Ryan's hooking some stuff up and making sure that we have all the proper fluids in it. The things that you have to do in order to get the 5.9 into the Dakota. First thing might be a little tricky to see, but we actually had to wire our 318 harness with the new proper injectors for the 5.9. So basically we had to splice, and then it used a slightly different connector. And all right, so here we go. We're about to prime it. We have the fuel pump relay pulled out. So we're gonna prime, see if we get oil pressure. Here we go, first start, or first attempt to start. So the engine's in, we got the timing set. We just took it for a little easy drive down the road, but can anybody tell us what that was weird. So as a little bonus, I'm going to show you what went wrong. So basically everything on this crank we can assume to sort of be out of spec. We pulled a couple of the main caps off just to check things out, but everything else here is all tightened down, and you can see, it might be a little hard to tell through the camera, but the crankshaft can play probably 20-30 thousandths back and forth. Probably really hard to tell, but we don't have a gauge right now that works. Otherwise I would have put the gauge on it, and you know, we could give you guys a more exact, but that's pretty much what we can assume is one of the underlying culprits as to why this engine is absolutely junk.
This one's nice.
So to recap, the engine's in the truck. Everything's all taken care of, all wired up, runs pretty decent. Obviously we know we still need a tune because we have a stage 2 cam in it now. But quick little recap of the things that we need to do in order to swap a 5.9 into a 2-wheel drive V6 Dakota, which is essentially what has happened on our truck. I know it was a little crazy trying to understand how we were doing it in the video, so I'll give you a recap right now. So first things first, everything should bolt up. The V6 transmission should bolt up right to the 5.9. The only thing you're going to need the V8 pilot bearing. It's the same one for the 5.2 or the 5.9. You're going to need the proper harness for your engine and transmission. So in our case, we needed a 5-speed harness for a 5.9. We used the 318 harness that we already had, did those connectors like I showed you earlier, so we didn't have to deal with that. You need the 5.9 flywheel that we showed you, the externally balanced one, and
Still doing it.
the externally balanced one, you can see the machining marks out of it, like we showed you earlier. You need the V8 clutch, that's another thing, but again, once you get everything connected, it all bolts right in. Now, the last thing you need the right computer to do what you need to do. So 318 5-speed computer, 5.9 5-speed computer, V6 5-speed computer. If you ever wanted to swap a V6 in, I don't know why you do that, but other than that, everything bolts together, and as long as you have the right electronics to play with what you're trying to play with, then you should be good to go. Some things we noticed: years in the wiring harness. So a wiring harness for a 99 doesn't work for a 97. They've changed up some sensors and other stuff you need to splice, and that's about it. So if you found these 2 videos informational, drop a like on the video. If you want to see more of our 2-wheel drive Dakota that we bought to thrash around and just ended up putting that 5.9 in, subscribe to the channel. And if we did anything wrong that you noticed, or you have any feedback or questions, let us know in the comments below, and we'll be sure to try and get back to you.